Hello, our lovely Girl Awakening listeners. Welcome to 2023. I'm Jo Hendy from the Sacred Sister Project.
I'm Amanda Parker of Mayala Organics.
Come with us as we journey into this week's Awakening episode.
I talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams. She teaches me lessons.
Good morning, Jo.
That got you, didn't it? It's really the afternoon.
I was thinking, do I start the morning or do I start with the afternoon? Because, you know, here we are on recording with our beautiful guest, Zhara, the monthly gateway. Welcome, Zhara.
Thank you, Amanda and Jo.
So exciting. We're here, the 6th of the 6th. My God,
Yes.
how quick is the year going? We're halfway.
Halfway.
Halfway point.
Just set past the full moon that most of you have probably had a glass of wine with sitting under, because it probably did call you too.
Maybe.
Or maybe you just did some nice deep breathing in the fresh air under the night sky and just sat in the moon baths.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. And we've kind of been floating around where we're being called this month with this portal. Because as you know, timelines
are shifting.
It's shifting, yeah.
We've got the right woman in the job to talk us through that.
We do, yeah.
Oh, thanks, you guys.
She's in the red seat, the hot seat.
Beautiful.
Thank
love
you so
being
much.
here.
Yeah, we love having you.
Thank you, thank you. I know it's an interesting time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think everyone's going through so much upheaval in some way, shape, or form at this stage, whether that's emotional or whether that's through situational. And it's actually the most beautiful time on the planet, because you get to create the change that you want to see in your own individual life, but also as a collective. And so we get to create this most expansive reality if we so choose.
Yes.
Because we have free will choice, and we're using it every moment of every day.
Every moment. And free will. Two big words. Two little words, but big energy.
Because it's been distorted.
Yeah.
It has been completely taken advantage of, completely reined in, and we have not had true free will on this planet. And that's something that's been coming up for me a lot, actually, in my own processing. There was a stuck energy around my heart, because there was so much grief and so much understanding of what is actually occurring when we come through into these dimensional fields, and what has been occurring with these souls, our souls, everyone's souls, and how we're being reined and held captive, literally in chains.
So just for our listeners, you're talking about like the programs on the planet, the conditioning on the planet, the
physical entry, how birthing happens.
So many aspects that we've been held under, basically.
Yeah, and the implants that are being thrown around like they're nothing.
Yes.
Like they're literally nothing. And we catch them because we're light beings.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're creatures of habits, and we replay them. Right. And so there's so much to that. And I don't want to focus too much on it, because I do feel like the power of focus and intention leads us into certain directions. But very much so, I'll just say really clearly, is that the structures that have been set up here on this planetary field are designed to keep the living being held down.
Right. Can I just articulate that a little bit just for our listeners? So we come onto the planet as light beings. Like,
we are
as
light.
In, we all are.
Yes.
What happens is we come onto this planet as a light being, and then all of a sudden we start to get thrown these things, conditionings and lots of other different things, which creates density in our bodies. So we become denser and denser, and the more conditioned we become, and the more we believe these conditions or these programs or whatever, then the more dense we become. So we start to create stories and all of these wonderful things, trauma and all of that, to then one day when we wake up, hence Girl Awakening podcast, we then have to start unpacking that, don't we?
To a certain extent, yes. And there are ways to actually just free will choice yourself out of a lot of it. But and this is what I want to talk about today, because I think so many of us are held in these densities and we don't know any other way.
Yeah.
Right? But yes, Joe, exactly what you're saying about how we come into physical form and then we actually become less of a light body and more of a dense material form in this world. And it's not that our light's not there. It's still actually shining, but there are just veils hanging over it.
And we forgot throughout those veils.
Correct. And we come in with amnesia, and most of us have no idea what this spirit experience is supposed to be about.
And there's fluoride in the water, which
it starts
our
from
pituitary gland.
It starts from birth, doesn't it? From getting a jab with whatever they want to jab you with.
Yes. Hepatitis.
Yeah. And so all of these constructs that have been set up to quote unquote hold us down are actually the biggest gateway to our freedom.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's what is really coming through today, is to talk about that and to talk about the enemy at the gates that we see so loudly. So many of us who are waking up, we're looking at the fact that there are control mechanisms and control structures and all these things that are holding us from our innate infinite potential. But we actually need to embrace them in order to move through them. And to really
is a
honor
negative feeling straight away.
I can feel the density in that.
And look, and you know what? For me, in this human form, like, I know that concept so well in every cell of my being. I know how to transmute the dark, and when it actually comes at me, it's a whole nother story. Because you're actually dealing with the reality of the human program template emotions.
Wow.
And the fight or flight.
Human template emotions. Is that what you just said? Wow.
Human template program and emotions. So you're actually moving through time and space with these things attached as well. You're not just in your light form.
So it's like there's let's just say there's a map, and it's just the map of, let's just say, Australia, just the outline. There's nothing on the inside, it's just the outline of Australia. And then someone comes over and puts a template with all the cities and towns and roads and everything on it. And all of a sudden we're like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah, there's right angles.
Yes. Where am I going? Who am I? I'm lost. What happened to just where I knew I was going? Just around this way. And now I've got all these other roads and people telling me which way I've got to go, up and down, sideways, that way.
Yeah.
And you instantly went into robot then.
And it's not just one and it's not just one template. It can be many templates over and over and over and over until we're lost sight of
the truth of who we are and why we're really here.
Yeah.
And so we get lost in this little maze, and it's time to come out, and we can choose to come out at any time. So there's no right or wrong. Feel free to play in the maze, enjoy it, enjoy the entire thing that this matrix has to offer, every single bit of it. But when you're ready, you can choose to come home.
So that's free will.
That is free will. Yeah,
Can you explain a little bit more?
Let's go into that. So, okay. All right. So free will choice has been abandoned by humankind.
Yep. By humankind. Yep.
Because we didn't know it existed.
Okay.
If we pick up the reins back to our own truth, our own sovereignty, our own individuality, our own ability to create on demand, to create in whatever way that we wish, without the chains and without the slavery and the servitude to ourself or another, then we can pick back up the reins of our true destiny.
Oh God, that makes
literally
me sad.
when you just what you just said, you see the overlay of massive generational entrapment, isn't it? Like slavery, how that's played out from a concept of spiritual light being to the physical manifestation of people in chains being taken from their home country to another country, or taken from their parents, or we've created so much.
And just because a lot of slavery isn't seen right now, it's still occurring, right? And it's occurring in the physical, but it's also occurring in the metaphysical, and it's occurring interdimensionally and with souls and entrapment in many different areas. And it's actually all okay. And that's the hard thing to really recognize. Yeah. But that is where we need to get to. We actually need to get to it's all okay, and it's actually a reflection of the self.
Yes.
So this is all occurring as a hologram. You, me, Joe, Amanda, we're all reflections of the one eternal creator. And so is everyone listening. And so the more that we can embrace everything that is in our reality field, the closer we come to God, the closer we come to source, the closer we come home. And it's something we have been conditioned to fight.
Isn't that why all of those things were put there for us to distract us from going back to the light?
Yeah, because you want to control. As a human, you want to control your circumstances.
Or fight, or protect, or this, or that.
And not have loss, because it sometimes feels like loss to go back home to, to leave all of this that you might
contrast.
have.
But you don't necessarily need to leave it. And that's the thing that I really want to get clear on, is actually you can embrace it right here, right now. You don't need to go anywhere. It's actually already occurring as a reality field.
Well, that was part of our choice, wasn't it, as well, to come and have the experience of what we're experiencing.
Yes.
Yes,
to have that density and to walk through it and to really expand, because this is a growth plane. So we actually expand as we walk through these trials and tribulations, but we don't need to stay stuck in it. So it's kind of like there's a perfect time to take the cake out of the oven.
Yes.
It's ready. The soup gets hot on the stove once you stir it, and there's a boiling point, right, when your tea kettle is ready to make the perfect cup of tea. And it occurs in human existence as well.
It's like we're walking through a big shopping mall, and there's the exit door over there, but there's a lolly shop. There's a dress shop.
Yes. My feet need doing. Oh my God, those shoes.
And while you get distracted, and while you're distracted with all of that, there might be this beautiful sunset or this great opportunity outside of that exit door, right? And so it's not right or wrong. It's just like the sliding door moments, the opportunities.
Or they renovate and make the shopping centre bigger. So now the exit's like so far down the road. What happened?
So it comes back to choice. We can choose to stay in lower densities. We can choose to elevate out and through the cloud, because there are clouds surrounding us, very, very real in the metaphysical world, and we can actually move out into the light. And it's just choice.
Just choice. And would you put it like, because what I was feeling then too was, in the physical sense, like when we're talking about the shopping centre and not missing the sunset, it's the same as in the morning when you wake up and you think, I was going to go for a walk this morning. But it's so cozy. It's about the free will, the choice, isn't it? I'll get up and go for a walk, or I'll go make myself a nice breakfast, or as opposed to sleeping a bit longer and then skip breakfast, or miss the walk. Those are free will choices, and neither right or wrong, but the rewards of each one is vastly different, isn't it? Each, what you're giving yourself, the joy of the fresh air, the walk, seeing the light, the sun, saying hello to somebody, the nourishment that comes with a good breakfast or lunch, as opposed to that moment of being cozy, which in itself feels wonderful in the moment, but then when it's gone, it doesn't really gift you anything past that, does it?
No, and I think I've actually been doing this lately. It's funny you bring it up, because it's actually what I've been doing, but I haven't been judging myself.
Great.
Because it's so cozy and loving it so much.
And the rest is probably really important.
And probably in 2 or 3 days ago, I was like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm ready to get out and just, plant my feet in the earth super early before when the birds wake up. But there was a few 3-4 weeks where I'm just like, I just want to hunker down in my bed in the morning. And yes, I'm missing all this, but it's actually okay.
In tune with the seasons, because it's been getting rather fresh in the morning and cooler.
And now I'm ready to get out and explore what else life has to offer during that time period. But I think it's a lot about just allowing ourselves to be wherever we need to be.
This is so funny. I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's like, it's when we're in the bubble of things, it's easy to say, I would like free will. Yes, I'm ready to take that on, and I'm going to do what I want to do for the best interest of me and others, and blah 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 blah. And I want to clear out the density, blah blah blah. When I did ayahuasca, I remember going in and thinking, I'll do whatever she tells me to do. Right. I'm ready.
She being the mother.
I'm ready to evolve, you know, and I'm ready to, I can handle whatever she's going to bring my way. So I remember, you know, drinking the medicine and then sitting in and then it coming on, and 45 minutes later feeling like, holy fuck, what's going on? Like the earth literally starts to shake and move and rattle around you. And I remember her saying to me, just sit up, Joe, because I was laying down, and I was like, no, I'm not sitting up. I was so out of it and so like, but I was being very defiant, and she kept saying to me, you're being defiant. If you just sit up, I can help you. And I was like, no, I'm not sitting up. And I was like, wow, you know, where is your level of commitment to self? Even around free will, sometimes we just choose other things like laying in bed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like in the moment, it's quite easy for me to say right here and now, I'll do anything to clear out the density in me or whatever, but it's so much harder and trickier than the way we talk about it. And we talk about it as if it's something easy to do, but when you're in that defining moment, where are your choices? You know, what is the choice going to be?
And there's no right or wrong of it. And that's the beauty with evolution, is there actually isn't necessarily a perfect path.
And are we ready? Are we really ready to see what we need to see?
Well, and this is the thing that is about these times, as we've talked about many different ways about the veil lifting and the frequency change and the rise into different dimensions being real as opposed to a fictional concept in a movie or and you know, do you want to miss the boat? Like this, if it's not now, when is it going to be? Because this is a time of change, and the bubble, as you say, like, and maybe the what's the word, the luxury we've been giving ourselves of having free will, but going, does it really matter today whether I choose this or that? Tomorrow I'll step up or step down, like as you say, you know, like I'm doing the ayahuasca, or it's the same as you know, doing a workout or cooking yourself a nice meal or meditating or
Well, I think of going to a retreat. A lot of people go to a retreat and they spend those 3 days, you know, and they're there and they're in the bubble, and yes, I want to change my life, and they get in the car and then they'll light up a ciggy, or they ring their girlfriends, we're going out tonight. You know, it's like, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, I'm realizing that it's another level of commitment.
And look, we all have our own timing, and it's actually perfectly orchestrated with your highest self. And so there's so many ways to look at it. But when I dive into this, it is about actually letting go of control. And then you, the higher you, the form that is really you, can come in and guide and just assist you in your journey. And
that's the beautiful part, isn't it? And I think that's what we're coming into, isn't it? More in the 5D. This is the 5D that you're talking about, where there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. There just is, and there's allowing, and there, you know, it's just flow.
It's just the opening of the gateways back to heaven. And when I say heaven, it's like the promised land, the golden age, the utopian society, where literally there is no right or wrong. It's a place that we actually all know quite well in ourselves and our DNA, but we've been a little bit deluded that it doesn't exist because of what we walk through. And what we walk through right here can be heaven and hell all at the same time as well. It's literally what you choose. And so when we're talking about fifth dimensional reality, it's actually here right now, and it's just a choice to start to see things from a different light. And to actually look beyond the veil and see the beauty in all that is. And I think, and that's why the calls that we were talking about, the infinite creator calls, I've been finding so powerful, even for myself, is because when I go into that space, it's like the veils just come up, the density just lifts, and it's like, we see everything for what it is, which is a gift. So everything in this reality field that you experience on a day-to-day basis, every being that is here, even the ones who are orchestrating destruction of the human race, they're actually a gift for us. And to be able to embrace that conceptually and actually in practice isn't necessarily hard, and it's not necessarily an easy walk either. And I feel like that's a lot of the training that I've been getting is like that firsthand. Okay, how do you really love the ones who are targeting, who are hurting, who are making things up specifically to complete certain agendas. And
I was listening to, just on that note, because a beautiful astrologer, Adams Soma, talking about Hitler the other day, and he was describing him as a young boy who was socially awkward and didn't know how to make friends, and was not very clever, and his biggest strength was the fact that he could talk in a very loud voice non-stop. And he capitalized on that as a way of navigating through his childhood and teenage years to become the biggest bully the planet's ever known, basically, responsible for the death of millions of people through his voice of telling people what to do and controlling people through a very loud, continuous voice. You know, and it's a identity and a story that a person creates around themselves as a survival mechanism when they don't feel loved, when they don't feel accepted, when they feel bitter and, you know, start to get twisted about things that don't seem to play out well. And how do you embrace someone like that?
It's
very, very hard.
I hear you.
And this is kind of like for our listeners, I think, you know, because we've talked about this a few times in the Monthly Gateway, and I understand the concept of embracing our shadow, loving the darkness, seeing these people as a reflection of ourselves, and that in itself is a bubble, isn't it? To be able to do that, you know, to work with those people, those energies, you know, pedophiles, all those kind of constructs, stories, you know, identities that those beings are. But so in reality, though, to walk up to Hitler and give him a hug and say, "How are you, little man?"
Yeah. And sometimes
I'm hearing you. Does that crack the shell of that person?
And it's not going to, right? And we don't need to expect that it's going to. And some of them, yes, it actually will, because some are ready to break. It's been so much stress and so much anguish within the self that they are ready to crack wide open. Others, it's not going to be the case. Others will not have that capacity because there are roads less traveled, and some people need to walk them, right? And it's not about accepting and turning a blind eye. Definitely not, especially with what's going on in the world right now. It is actually the time to stand up and revolt, but not from the place of anger and judgment and violence and rage. It's actually about integrating that in the self and in the whole. But we have got to say no more. We cannot do this to ourselves anymore. We cannot do this to the human species.
Keep feeding the dark.
Yeah, and look, because the darkness is just a reflection of the light.
Yes.
Literally, we are all that one. And so from someone like Hitler, for example, you have to understand that some of these beings have been distorted and taken advantage of, and actually had reins put around them and have been used, have been controlled and used by different interdimensional beings. And that's occurring as well right now in the whole. And it's something that we do need to forgive, but it's not about forgetting. It's about choosing a different course.
Not repeating.
I know this is kind of a little bit left of center, but I know Einstein had a great quote, which was, "You cannot change a situation on the same level of consciousness as it was created."
Yes.
And I think that's the same thing. We need to change the way.
Because by the way, when I was brought him up, I just felt there's density come into the room as well. It was not a great space.
It's heavy,
yes. And so if that's what we can clear out,
and that's
because
an example of changing the energy around that concept.
And so this is the fine balance point, is because this stuff actually does need to be talked about. It needs to be come to the light. There are people out there that are exchanging the information with the world that look, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. But then as soon as you know and you recognize, turn the other way. Literally turn the other way and do what you can to create the paradise on earth that is possible for you and your family, the ones that you love, and humankind. And that's the space that I typically dwell in. But at the same time, there is a time and a space for all of us to say no. And no more, we cannot do it this way. But like you said, where you put your focus is the energy that you'll bring in. So as we put our focus places, we actually want to put them with what we want to create. What do we actually want to enjoy? What do we want to birth as a human race? What do we want this place to look like? And how do we want to experience it for ourselves?
Absolutely. And this is the area too that I've been reading a lot about, around love, for instance, to talk about that, because it's
a beautiful frequency that we have.
Absolutely. But that how there's very, 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 very minute percentage of people that have actually felt the love that we are supposed to be experiencing. And that if we had experienced that in a tiny essence of it, that's all we would be going for. Because, you know, that true essence of pure love is, you know, indescribable.
It's a space of bliss. And emotional energy that's like nothing else. It's freedom. And it's a space where we can literally create anything we want, because we're free. We're free from pain. We're free from believing. And we're free from believing that anything's wrong. As well. And
well, it's almost like I get this feeling of fulfillment. I feel I would be completely, fully embodied. You know, with love. I could do anything.
But you can do that right now.
You
literally can do it right now, where you sit, no matter who you are. You just tap back into the heart space. And yes, you may have this, that, and the other, and it may not be in this moment now. But if you start to believe that love is your eternal existence, if you start to reprogram yourself knowing that love is your eternal banner, that's who you are, that's actually who you are, then it will start to come much more easily. And just like anything, like a baby, it takes a little bit of time to walk. We take a little bit of time to grow. It may take some time in this field. Some people may just have an instant awakening. It's literally a space that your higher self, you together are navigating. Right? You're a perfect instrument of God, source consciousness, and you're navigating the field exactly as you planned. So there's two real realities that you can tap into, which is the sliding door moments and then everything's lost, or you can actually tap into everything's going exactly as I planned when I came here. And you'll start to create a different timeline for yourself. And again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. We just get to choose. We just get to be in the space of Asutta Konasya. Everything's possible.
And possible with, like, focus on timelines? Or
focus on anything, everything, and anything that you imagine, that you dream of, that you concoct, is a reality. It's about how much attention, how much focus you give it. And so on that note, what do you actually want to create with your own life and with this species that we find ourselves a part of? What do we actually want to create? And that's where we can step into, if we're willing to choose on that level, rather than choose from the past, so to speak, or choose from the programming. But you can create a reality that is so great around you that you won't know what to do with it. But we haven't necessarily been taught. And it's not something, and I'm still working on it myself, but I know it's possible, and I see what can show up. And I see the you know, the densities in human form that I'm still working my way through. But it's a magical landscape. And the more we get together on the timelines for the future of humanity, the better it's going to look and the quicker it's going to take shape. And there's so many people out there doing so many amazing things.
Oh yeah, I love. I'm getting the essence of where you're going now. Like, it's seriously, we spend too much time looking back.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's now time. The time is now to create what we want to create.
Yes.
And that, I keep getting Peter Pan when you say, believe. It's like, yes, we actually
unicorns
really...
and unicorns.
All of that. We need to start believing that what we've dreamt is actually part of the reality.
Yes. Yes, and that is the golden age, the utopian reality that is actually possible on this planet. Yeah. And it's paradise on earth. It's heaven's gates. There's so many different terms it's been called over the years. Shambhala, Shangri-La. Yep.
Utopia.
Because it's actually a reality. It actually exists as a potential reality field that some of us are actually standing in right now, and we're here translating that message that this is possible. This is real. How many people want to go there? Yes. And when I say go there, I don't mean step out of this potential time, space, dimension, but I mean go there in your own self, in your own heart space, and bring it forth for the others, because that's the gateway. That's heaven's gate. It is the heart. It is the dimension of these primordial planes that can come through so fast.
Well, imagine being in that reality with the people you love. Like, how incredible that would be.
But it's here right it's actually here right now. Right, everything's occurring at the same time, overlapped, but we're just tuned into a certain station. So like the radio and the airwaves. That's a really good example, actually. You can change the station on the radio and tune in to a different broadcast or a different song. That's actually all we're doing here. We're not moving station, so to speak. We're actually just fine-tuning the frequency. Fine-tuning the frequency for each of us as an individual, but also as that collective. And where do we want to go? Where do we actually want to go? Because as we were just talking about, whatever you focus on, that energy form is created. I was actually just saw something yesterday about The Simpsons. I never really watched The Simpsons, like occasional episode way back when, but apparently they've been like really predicting.
Prophetic.
Right? But are they prophetic, or are they literally creating a construct that you have then, how many millions of people watching and actually creating a reality? And I tend to lean towards
true to me.
and I lean towards that is how this dimension works, is that the more energy that is brought into a particular topic, brought into a particular thought form, it will manifest as its own creation. That's how we work as creators, right?
And it's come through the bloody Simpsons.
Powerful realization.
Don't you feel really smart right now? No, I've heard that a lot. That people say it's a time machine, that someone's seen the future, and but that's all part of the distraction too.
The prophecy can be a complete fulfillment of reality based on us thinking it's real. And so on that note, we can actually create something so different and so beautiful if enough of us get behind it.
Yes.
And so where do we actually want to go? And that's what I really want to generate on the Infinite Creator calls. On the second one is, okay, let's just start bringing one person at a time into this field, and let's start to generate a new reality right where we sit right now.
So what you're talking about also relates back, when we get back onto the ground level reality side of things, is this manifests in what we watch, who we hang out with, who we surround ourselves with, what energy we surround. It's everything, isn't it?
What stories we still tell ourselves.
Yes.
I catch myself in the story and I'm like, oh my goodness, never mind.
Yes. Yes.
Never mind.
Well, that's not,
It's like changing, like being in a situation where you could get swept up into a past story, a negative past story, or do I want to change the narrative into something positive and where I'm moving forward?
Because that's how we've kind of related with each other, is we related with each other through trauma and drama, and like that's just what we've done, myself included. And so if we can actually come out of that,
well, that's our way of saying we connect with somebody.
True, right?
It's a distraction.
And there's nothing wrong with it either, because we have to process it. It's important to be heard. but there's a time when you can put the story down, right? But it is important that we listen to each other and we go through the upheavals. But
are we learning and evolving and growing through that?
Yeah.
Or are we keeping somebody somewhere, locking them in more, creating more of a distraction? That's a choice in itself.
And that's for each of us to really feel into and tune into.
Yes.
With the other that we're in conversation with, because we can move into these spaces of like just humming and these beautiful vibrations when we're dancing and when we're when we're really living and loving and communing and laughing
about our upsets and our traumas and all that, where we're like, wow, I learned so much from that,
Speaking about laughing, I was laughing at myself on the weekend because I was doing some gardening and repotting some things, and I'd put something down and think, I put it there, but I should be careful because I might knock it over when I'm doing this. And literally 5 minutes later, I would do exactly that. And then the hose would get tangled around something, and I'd be like, I won't pull it, because if I pull it, the branch is going to break off. And the next minute, my arm is pulling it, and I'm like, stop it. I was literally
getting
told. And then I just started laughing at myself, going, if my manifesting for good shit in my life was as powerful as prophesizing that I'm going to break that branch off in 5 minutes.
Well, Amanda, as a friend, it is. It is. Your choice.
It was a little bit of laughter at myself for being like a negative, powerful manifestor as opposed to a... then I was laughing, you putting the cup of coffee on the carpet and going, I'll knock that over, and sure enough you did.
Literally
it's like we do set ourselves up for those.
And can I say you are a powerful creator, and you have gotten, and the thing is, you have no attachment with those. There's like no story, there's no underlying current, there's no stories, there's just no attachment. Yeah. Right? And so how can we let go of everything else that we're so attached to?
Yes.
Yeah. And because then, in that moment, is when you kind of build the bridge for that to occur in this real world. So
powerful times, like literally we're sitting in the most incredible timeline, portal, space, opportunity. To choose whatever we choose, whatever we want.
You exercise our free will.
And knowing that it's already done. Like this reality that we all so desperately want is already created. And so if we can actually just relax and let it line up, watch what will occur. But it's like, it's the relax.
What's that word? Relax.
I know.
Can you explain to our listeners what that means?
Well, it's actually interesting because I'm learning myself. But I just keep on getting the messages. Zara, just let go, relax, let go. I'm like, I thought I was, but not. It's really having no
There's
worries.
Layers of it, isn't there?
Yeah, and really having no worries because God is on your side.
Yeah, and that's another belief in itself. You know, if only we put that at the front of the list.
Yes,
I think that would support us.
It would help fix a lot of our daddy issues.
We are loved, we are cute. I had layers of this trusting the universe while I was away, because I kept saying, it's funny because the people we were with who are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful nature lovers, they pick up snakes, and the guy knows everything about plants, and incredible people to be with out in the middle of the outback.
Yes.
And I remember that saying at the start, I'm scared of snakes. And they said, well, the universe has your back, so you don't need to worry about that. There's no such thing as being scared of snakes. And I'm like, no, I'm scared of snakes. And she's like, but Joe, you know that if you trust the universe and the universe has your back, it's not going to allow a snake to come and chase you down and attack you. What's the worst that can happen? I'm like, that? But it literally was a big wake up moment for me. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The universe actually does have my back.
Yes.
If I fully let it and allow it and trust it.
And it's a choice. That's the choice right there.
That's
a choice that will change your life.
Yeah. Well, it kind of did.
It's all the snakes you saw sleeping.
No, but in the end, I was like, I would always be the one walking down these tracks with long grass, second or third, because I'll let the person in front of me get the snake first. And then in the end, I was the one that was walking down the tracks first, feeling confident that I was looked after.
Not thinking about it.
not thinking about
well
it.
done.
That was beautiful to me.
That's
I even get a little
beautiful.
emotional saying that, but it's
It's
I
huge.
got it at another level.
Yeah.
That the universe does have your back. It's
Yeah.
there's layers of trust in that saying alone. It's not just, I trust the universe. Do you really?
Yeah.
In all ways.
Yeah. And the universe always has your back. And if you can believe that, also on a collective level, that what we're riding through right now is actually perfectly timed, perfectly aligned for us to birth the new.
Yeah.
So I love that, Joe.
So the next time you're going to see me, I'm going to have snakes hanging around my neck. I'll be like, hi Zara, meet my friends.
For your birthday party, we're going to have the vet doll man come.
But it's just another beautiful viewpoint, isn't it? That it's the same as the belief in that there is another reality out there that is magnificent and wants us to feel joy and bliss and love and be abundant in all areas.
And it's not outside, it's actually right here, right now within. It's within every cell of your body.
And there's enough.
Yes.
There's enough.
Yes.
Enough
And
of
it's
everything.
funny, again, the things that we're often scared of, like snakes and spiders and creepy crawlies, the things that live in the dark, when the dark's not really that scary or not a wrong place. And the snakes, the serpents that have all these archetypal energies and, tie into esoteric wisdom that are
Powerful.
pathways to freedom and, knowledge that empowers us rather than enslaves us. And so the tricks, the
tricksters.
curves, the tricksters, the matrices, the mazes in our thought patterns and mindsets. Again, so many layers that just if we discard and shed those skins and believe in that essence of the universe having our back, of God is there for us. Source energy is.
However you want to term it.
Yeah, however.
It's that frequency of knowing.
Of love.
How loved you are.
Yeah.
Like really how loved you are.
Yeah.
How loved we each are. And that will start to transform it. But it is, it's a path.
Yeah.
It's a journey
of
evolution.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah.
It's
getting out of our own
way. Would you like to take us into a little
little
sure
beautiful
on that note?
All right.
Thank you, Zara.
Oh, thank you. Let's see where we want to go as a collective, as a group, because this is contingent on all the energy in the room now.
Which
But
was
also it's
sprayed with
gonna be-
Life of X, because the energy today has
got a
been
bit heavy.
very
Someone tried to take us out through the computer.
Yeah, it's actually it's interesting because in that it was just a real reminder where we focus is what the energy will actually distort to. So where are you focused? Where are you focused? So let's just see where we're going to go here. So we're tapping into the dimension beyond time and space. It's truly the beginning of the universe and the ending as well. It's where all manifestation, all creation arises from. It's a point that we call home. Asutaya nasuta sutaya. It's a space of beauty and of love and of eternal mastery. Eternal mastery is your birthright. You're walking the journey. You're walking the path. But all of you are destined for this unveiling, to really see the truth of who you are. You just get to choose how you get there. And that's what we want to walk in today, is your ability to choose freely. Not from comfort, not from abandonment, not from needs or wants, but truly from your limitless ability to be all of who you are. Because you are this infinite being, this absolute beautiful being of light, of dark, of everything under the sun. It actually exists in your cells. You get to choose how to express it, though. How do you express to your neighbors? How do you express to your family? How do you express to those who upset you? This is a complete reflection of how you express to yourself. So look at this now and go deep with it. How much can you love yourself today? Truly love who you are. Beyond physical form, in fact. Knowing that you're truly part of Source, part of the Creator, part of God, part of the infinite intelligence that is all things. That is who you are. So how much can you love yourself? Just knowing this. That you have nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be sorry for, nothing to be wronged for. Truly, that's just density and motion. And it's not necessary for your survival as a species. It's not necessary for your experience on planet Earth. What is necessary is to find the truth of who you are. You are this incredible light being, full of this incredible beauty. And yes, it can take the form of dark or light. And this is perfectly orchestrated. You are not all of one. You are a combination of the entirety of the whole. And you get to choose how to express this. It can come out in the form of violence, or it can come out in the form of love. That's the creative capacity that you have. So remember, in every moment, you have this ability to choose how you react, how you see the world, what lens you look through, what space you play in. You can choose something different. And just because you're choosing something that you don't like, it does not make you wrong. So let's give up these concepts that if you're good, you're right, and if you're bad, you're wrong. Nothing like this exists. You're doing your best in this primordial soup of creation. And the less you judge yourself, the better you will feel. The better you feel, the better you'll treat yourself. And the better you treat yourself, the better you treat others. And that, my friends, is the road home. Back to the space of the universal planes, where love rules, where creation is but a blink away, where you can manifest your highest desires and those of a species, intent on creating a different world. Find the love in your own heart. Find the love in your own self. and project it upon the planet. Project it upon your friends, your neighbors, your enemies. Does not matter who, but find the love, feel the love, and share it. And again, it doesn't mean ignoring what's not working or what's giving you grief. There's no bypassing here. You each need to find your own processes of how you come to terms with what may have been created. That's part of living in the physical reality. But none of it's wrong. It's just something else you want to create. So as we journey together today, just find a little space of something different that you'd like in your life. Feel it flowing through your veins. Is that love? Is that a new home? Is that peace on earth? Whatever it may be, just start calling it into existence. Just calling it up from the shadows and the recesses of what you didn't think was possible, or maybe didn't know. And bring it front and center to look you straight in the eye. And say, yes, please. I'll have that. I'll choose that choice now. I'll make a new beginning for me, my family, my fellow man, whatever it may be. Just choose yes. Because that is how the word of God, of creation, of source, that is how the word works. Word speaks your reality into existence. Remember that one as you go about your day. And enjoy what you can create.
That was beautiful. I drifted far away, deep.
Into yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'll have this. Yes, I'll have a new earth.
Oh, the light in here feels amazing.
Yeah. I feel like I've opened my eyes into a new space. Like,
yes.
and that's what we want to see is just, and that's like, my job is not to rescue anyone, but it's just to just give this little hand. Like, okay, let's clear the field just a little bit so you can see who you are.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself, you find your work, you find your purpose, you find your life, you find what you need for your own path to emerge.
Perfect.
And
yeah.
Thank you. I love going into this space.
We love that too.
Just
and we know our listeners love it too.
And just how it goes out into
the ether.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful and connecting. There's a 5G tower just over there, and I know despite itself it's radiating it out with the best of intentions because we've embraced its presence for a purpose of good.
and there are actually ways to just mitigate that really easily and really quickly that I've heard about. I want to do my own research into it, but just really easily. Like, remember, none of this is real.
Yeah.
I don't acknowledge their presence.
Yeah. I've seen scientific. I've heard. I shouldn't say I've seen, but I've heard someone with the technology and they have the scientific data of just something flashing on it and just literally mitigating. So I'm not sure how long that lasted or if it was a permanent thing, but I'll find out.
Yeah, interesting.
In the meantime, we have Zhara as a transmitter of light and dark and love.
As we each are.
Yeah.
We just get to embrace how we want to use this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amanda.
We've loved it.
Zhara.
Ready for a beautiful
Leave
new
your
reality.
comments, listeners, if you have any feedback on this space, just either on our Spotify or Instagram.
And we'll leave a link for Zara's Tuesday night.
Yes.
Conscious Creator Calls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Infinite Creator.
Infinite
Calls.
Creator. Sorry. Yeah.
And we'll just I'd love to have anyone who is ready for that journey join.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
how wonderful.
Beautiful.
Thank you for the offering.
thank you so much for having me here. It's been great.
See you next month.
See you next month.
Woohoo!
Thank you for listening, and remember, all links to our guest are in the notes. Leave us some comment here or message us on Instagram how our guest today connected with you, or perhaps something you wish to share. A special thank you to the blissful Ksenia Luki for our theme song. Joe and I will be with you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.
She teaches me lessons, and boy does she sing. Her voice sways like a hummingbird, flies like a shooting star. She whispers, you were never born so